Okay, let's talk about something that's very, very important for your shears. Um, I don't think I can overemphasize how important this is, and that's care and maintenance. Care and maintenance. Two of my big things are tension and cleaning your shears. As I mentioned earlier in another section, if you hold your shears up like this and look at them between the light, you'll see that the blades are bent so that they'll touch when they open and close. Well, when a shear gets loose, when your shears are up like this and they're touching, screw loosens up, and for some reason all shears seem to loosen. I don't know why, they just do. Now your blades are out here. They won't cut good, so it's going to flip the hair over or scoot it down the blade. Now it won't cut good like that, so to get it to cut, as you close this way, you're also going to push that way, squeezing those blades together. And when you do that, that constant rubbing, constant rubbing on the shears, that knocks the edge off real quick. And if it's been loose for a period of time, you can turn the shear over, and sometimes the light coming down will reflect. It's a little burr where the metal is actually rolled around the cutting edge. Now, how do you know how tight they need to be? Well, there are technical names for blades. One shear's got an A and a B blade, another shear's got... I can't keep it straight myself. How can I explain it? But everybody seems to understand finger blade and thumb blade. Okay? Now different people do it differently. Some hold it this way. A friend of mine holds his backwards from the way I do, but this is my method. I like to hold the finger blade ring, the one you put your finger in. Aim the point straight up. And it's important, don't lean it forward and don't lean it back and don't lean it to the left or to the right, but straight up, and raise your thumb up all the way and just let it drop. It should not slam shut like this one is doing. If it does, you need to adjust the shear to where it stops about halfway down. Some shears have what they call a tension dial system. Some have a little key that you have to put in there. Some take a screwdriver. In any case, you don't want the shear to slam shut. Ideally, I feel like about halfway down like this is ideal. And if you take a shear brand spanking new and the shear gets loose real quick, for some reason they just do, if you don't correct that, it's going to knock that edge off. And people tell me all the time, well, I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up if I adjust it. The truth is, you're going to mess it up if you don't adjust it. That's very, very important that you keep this tension taken care of. And if you don't know how, if you can't physically do that, recruit some help. Find somebody that can get that done. So when you drop that thumb down, it will knock that about halfway down. The next thing, that's one of my two big things. The next thing is clean your shears daily with WD-40. Over the years, I've had all kinds of shear oils and waxes that I've used, and nothing I like better than just buy it off the shelf. And no, I don't have stock in the company. I buy it at a grocery store or at the hardware store, just like you do. You can get it anywhere. WD-40, very, very important. Now, the reason I like this. Some of the shears come with oil. Well, oil is oily. Take a little oil and put on your mirror right here, and the dust in the air will cling to that like a magnet. Now, if you don't think this is dust in air, just don't dust for a couple days and you'll see how much is really there. Pardon me. Same thing with your shears. If you put oil on your shear, well, hair is going to stick to that. Well, the nice thing about WD-40 is it leaves the shear clean and dry like waxing your car. If you wax your car and then it rains on it, you have bubbles up. Well, your shear will do exactly the same thing. There are cleaning properties in WD-40, and that crud that builds up, especially back here around the bearing, the horseshoe part of the shear, there's a bunch of crud will have a tendency to build up. Spray the whole shear. It's not going to hurt a thing. If you happen to have if you've got Formica on your counter and you get a little on your Formica, it'll clean your Formica really nice too. So it's good to have around. Here's what you do. Open a shear about like this and just lay it down. Now, I didn't know this for a long, long time, but you're supposed to take a can of WD-40 and shake it. it settles like a lot of things do. And then just spray the whole shear. It's cheap. And then what I do, I open and close it several times like this, and very gently I will rub this with my fingers. Now you don't have to kill it. If you do it on a regular basis, crud will never build up on this shear, and you'll have nothing more but the lightest of pressure to do this. Okay? Now you're probably not noticing I'm doing this, so I'm going to explain this. Let me get this cleaned off here for you, and then I'll explain something that's very important. You don't want to cut yourself doing this. And I do cut myself on occasion, maybe once or twice a year, but that's extremely rare that I ever cut myself. Now, the nice thing about WD-40, like I said, it leaves your shear clean and dry. There's no oil on there that will rub off on your clothing or anything else, and it makes the shear open and close nice. So if you clean your shear daily with WD-40, the worst thing that's going to happen to it is going to open and close nicely. Which means what? Less wear and tear on your hand. You're not dragging your knuckles when you leave the salon at the end of the day. Very, very important there. Now, as I mentioned, if I take this shear, I can run down my arm like this, and it will shave me. That's sharp enough to shave with. If I take that and go across like that, it'll open me up just like a scalpel. So you don't want to go sideways movement on the blade. Caught my finger while I did that. But you can take that cutting edge and go away from your the cutting edge with no problem at all. See that? Okay. Now, when you wipe your shear, when you're on the top, if you'll twist up, and on the bottom of the blade you twist down. So up is up, down is down, and you just, again, very gently. No pressure here at all, none whatsoever. I use a paper towel. I like the Viva brand because they're nice and soft. And just wipe the shear down, rub back here a little bit, rub back. Very, 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 very nice to take them done. Now, another thing that is very, very important. I see how it was doing good. I cleaned them. Now they close so much easier, so it's slamming shut. So I have to readjust it. Okay, like that.